That's it.
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Adjournment? Aye. Yeah. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call please.
President Moran,
Here.
Director Adams,
Here.
Director Baskin,
Here.
Director Brown,
Here.
Director Brown.
Here. Moving on to item number 1, minutes of the regular meeting held October 26, 2023. I'll make a motion to approve the written. I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item number 2, committee reports.
President, there's no committee reports.
Moving on to item number 3, general manager's report.
We do briefly we have a pretty full agenda. I just want to let you know that on Monday, I'll be making a presentation to the county civil grand jury. And they come in and just do an update overview of the airport district forum. So, let it go.
Moving on to item number 4, manager of finance and administration report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've provided the demand register for your review and approval.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to item number 5, public session. Statements from the floor will be heard during public session. Request to speak forms are provided for those wishing to address the board. After completing the form, please give it to the clerk. Requests requiring board action will be referred to staff and brought on the next appropriate agenda. Members of the public are cordially invited to speak on agenda items as they occur. Staff reports covering agenda items are available for review in the office of the general manager on the Tuesday prior to each meeting. The board will establish a time limit for received testimony, in this case 3 minutes. The board reserves the right to establish further time limits for received testimony. Moving on to item number 6, presentation by Suzanne Singh for the annual Chamber of Commerce.
I have the keyboard here.
That's good.
Well, good evening, President Maria and board of directors. It's a pleasure to be here tonight to share with you my work in the last year. I'm going to take some time just to let some of the new directors know what it is that I do as the economic development director for the chamber. So the chamber fulfills a contract with the city for economic development. So I am the person that oversees those activities and the involvement for that contract. So I describe my job as all those things that makes our community thrive. If there's something that's going on in our community that's helping us grow, expand, or build, I have a finger or a toe in the spirit. So in the next few slides, I'm just going to share with you what it is I do, and hopefully I'll be able to answer any questions you have at the end. And I have to apologize to Jennifer Harrison, our tourism person, was supposed to be here tonight, and she is fallen ill, so I'll be doing her stuff, which I know very little about, but I've had a conversation with her, so hopefully I can manage to get through that. I may not be able to answer questions on her part, but I can definitely take those questions back to her and get that back to you. So a couple of things I do that are random city stuff. I assisted 236 businesses. That could be where I'm helping a new entrepreneur start their business. I'm helping a business go through the permitting processing situation through the city. I'm helping some businesses that are dealing with training or education needs or workforce needs. So I do a lot of things in that area. We also, this past year, touched over 220 businesses through community outreach and site visits. So I will go visit companies and find out what their needs are and and see if I can match some of those needs or assist them or find them the resource that they need to take care of those needs they may have. And then we had over 20 business attraction leads this year. This is companies that are interested in coming into the community, and we can actually go in and kind of help them find locations and work through their workforce questions or their housing questions. So that's kind of some of the stuff I do. We also receive RFIs from the governor's office of business. Those RFIs are just requests for information. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Archer Aviation RFI that we had done here on the airport side a couple of years ago. We were heavily involved in that. And that was a GoBiz RFI that came in. I'm terrible at advancing slides, so sorry. And then we had 9 expansion projects, so pretty much any business in town that's growing and needs to expand, we'll work through that with them and kind of give them some help through permitting or building or whatever it may be. And then we're working on 19 housing projects, or we're involved in them, and those could be projects current or coming in the pipeline for us. And then, you know, we continue to work with our partners in ways to improve the quality of life, our business environment, and bring a positive impact to the community. So a couple of them I've listed. I've been working with Allen Hancock College for about 2 or 3 years now. We developed a How to Start Your Business class that we taught at the college a couple of times a year. And this last time we did it in spring of last year, they asked us to expand that. So now we're doing a 5-course college class that we do. It takes us about 3 months to start to complete, and goes through various different topics about how to start a business, an overview, business planning, permitting, fees, finance, access to capital, legal, and HR. So we go through the whole span of giving these people just an idea of what it takes to start a business for the entrepreneurs. And surprising enough, I'll share with you, every time we do each one of these classes, we see over 150 people that come to these classes. So there's a huge desire for people in this community to become entrepreneurs. We also are a big part of Reach. I'm sure you've heard about Reach. We are actively involved with them, and we do participate in a lot of initiatives and things that they work on for their region. And then we work with Vandenberg, and I've done a lot of work with them in the last 2 years related to housing and connecting them with developers to build housing, connecting them with our current landlords, helping them. We've developed a landlord opt-in program, which allows us to send stuff to a landlord and say, you want to offer special concessions to military personnel. And so we're working on that, and it's been pretty successful so far. We also coordinate and facilitate through the Santa Barbara County Office of Education, the Teachers Tours program. So we work with the county to get all of our teachers in the county to come to tours of businesses in the fields that they teach in. It's to help them have more relevant teaching of what's needed in the community right now. It's been pretty successful for a couple of years now. And then a lot of those other logos we work with all the time. I just thought I'd hit some new or some big ones that we highlight. And then as far as the airport business goes, we are part of the air service team. So we are out there going to airline headquarter meetings. We actually work on helping the consultant put together the data and the marketing stuff for these meetings that we go to. So we're actively involved in that. We've also worked with RRM a little bit on their specific plan update that they're doing for the airport. And then of course, we're helping them with their project they're doing on Foxenwood and Union Valley Parkway. And then we also try to stay updated on all the airport issues and the needs that you may have. That's why you see me at every board meeting. I want to know what's going on. So if there's something we can step in the account or facilitate, I want to be there so we can do that for you. And then we work with Tom off and on. Then there's an attraction lead or something that needs to come into the community. We'll reach out to Tom and let him know what the need is, and we'll try to find space within the airport land. We actually, as a chamber, see this as a core job center. And so we are always focused on bringing those core big jobs here in town. And then we work with the city in ensuring that the customs building, and this is a new thing that we just started, is going through the permitting process in a timely manner. And I had a conversation with the city today about that, making sure it's moving along, because we know that's important to the board, so we want to make sure we're working on that. And then what's next for me? I'll just continue doing all the things I keep doing. I'm a big promoter and a supporter of our business environment and making sure that Santa Maria is on the map and companies know about us. I'll continue with the attraction and expansion effort. I'll continue being involved with airline attraction and marketing those data efforts. And we'll continue to monitor and stay involved with that customs building, just making sure that there's no delays on that. Now I'm going to shift to tourism. So you have to bear with me because this is something I don't ever talk about. I understand it, but to articulate it to you might be a little bit more difficult for me. But I'm going to give it a try. So in 2021 was the highest record we'd ever had in Santa Maria for transient occupant tax. And then in 22 and 23, you'll see that we did even better. We did like 1 million more than we thought we would, than we thought would be forecasted. And that is probably the top 2 years of collection ever collected. And we've been collecting this data for over 35 years. So it's a pretty big bump. But what's really interesting is the average daily rate increases, although occupancy rate is down. And the reason why that happens is because prices are going up for the hotels and the occupancy. Let's see what else I can tell you about that. And then with attracting visitors to the Santa Maria Valley, we thought this would be important to share with you. You know, we've done several campaigns. One is our Less is More ad campaign that's really gone out of Santa Maria. So you may not hear any of these ads, but they're out there. Where we're actually promoting, you know, come stay in Santa Maria Valley. We're less expensive, and our neighboring cities are great to travel out. So you can stay here and go on day trips in the area. So we work on that a lot. And then we do Bucket Month every year. That's in May. This year we did this little central campaign, which was kind of fun. And then our public relations and paid media, we hosted 9 influencers this past year, which resulted in 35 published stories and a publicity value of 1.62 million. So we really host those people and bring them into the community, and they see good things about us. They go back and write about us, and we have a lot that happens because of that. Our group leads were 79% response rate. This is where it spans with those meeting, so events, you know, meeting planners, we'll get them engaged, we'll bring them into the community. It's just another way of getting people to know that the Central Coast is here and what we have to offer. Our social media platform channels achieved over 7,000 hotel referrals over the last year through paid advertisement. And then SantaMariaValley.com is our dedicated tourism site where we drive all of our visitors to. Then we also support hospitality in the area. So we have a hospitality internship program, which is our way of trying to create a pipeline for those hospitality jobs that are out there. So we found that to be pretty effective so far. We also do the public art initiative with the city of Santa Maria's Rec and Parks. We do local event support through special grants and programs. And then our Santa Maria Valley Wine Tour added Santa Maria Public Market to it this last year. And we had writers of 2,500 in that this year. So that was pretty strong. We also conduct managers meetings, which allows us to bring in hotel managers, front desk, and some of the people out in our industry, restaurants and stuff that can come do tours and see some of the things we're trying to have them share with their visitors to come experience the area. And then we have our restaurant month and craft cocktail contest. It usually happens in January. It's intended just to support our local restaurants and bring in a funds and the craft cocktail contest. And then we have lots of industry partnerships. That's pretty self-explanatory. So I'll just leave it. I mean, and I don't know much about those. I know Cal Travel Summit because Jen actually sits on the board for the California Travel, but the rest of them I'm not really sure about. And of course, we're engaged in a lot of associations and have memberships in those. And then what's next for tourism? We're in the process of updating our visitor guide. We're ongoing with our influencer strategies and execution. We have citywide event opportunities. We do trade shows, and we have new and refreshed digital media campaigns coming out. So that's all I have for you, and I thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you what we've done, and I'm open for questions if you have.
2 questions. Do you coordinate with Teresa or Artcraft? She goes around the country a lot presenting the paint shop here that she runs at various aviation events. Do you coordinate with her or have relationships with her at all?
I know her, that's a good idea, I didn't know she did that, so that would be something I'll reach out and see what she's doing. I mean, we also do the Hispanic business group, so I see her at those events too, and I never knew she was doing that, so that's good to know.
You have some coffee with her. She,
Yeah,
about 90% of the aircraft she paints here
Right.
start at around $20,000 a paint job, up to a couple $100,000, come from outside the state.
I'm sure, yeah,
Brings a lot of business here, and they pilots, hotels and things. So.
yeah, I'll reach out to her,
suggestion.
thank you.
Second thing, do you, based on the problem we're having at the border, do you have a sense of the infiltration into Santa Maria, people coming across the border illegally that are now spreading out through the US?
I don't think we're having that big of an issue in our city. I mean, we have a lot of H-2A workers. I don't see a lot of non-documented people coming through.
H-2A elect, that's great. But
Yeah.
anyway, thank you.
Any other questions?
Any idea when the custom building is gonna be done?
Well, I think we've had some conversations, and what did we say, Martin? Did it look like maybe we'd be through the permitting and processing by March, April, and good to go by May? But we're working on that, and my conversation with Chung today was, can we move it along? And he said, yes. It will not go through the normal 8 weeks of waiting before we hear back.
Yeah,
So, I mean, we know it's a priority, and he knows it is, so I think we'll see that we'll go through the permitting processing a lot faster than other projects. I know it's important to you, so we're working on that. Any other questions? Okay, great, thank you.
thanks, Deb.
Moving on to item number 7. Authorization for tuition reimbursement for 1 staff member.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is to reimburse the accounting clerk for a class she took towards her bachelor's degree in accounting and business administration.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Moving on to item number 8, authorization for the president to execute the proposal for PFAS assessment between the district and SCS engineers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to give you some background on this. City of California, about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, outlawed the use of polyfluoroalkyl substances, also known as PFAS. PFAS is found in aqueous film forming foam, which we are required to use for Part 139 certification. Knowing that, the state acknowledged that, sent out an order to all Part 139 airports, simply allowing them to continue to use AFFF, but requires some reporting requirements. And the district contracted with SCS to do that work. And that has led to the next element of work, which is the identified location where AFFF is actually applied and used in firefighting. And our next phase is to do actually sampling, drill some wells, test groundwater at those locations, and to determine the extent, if any, of PFAS contamination resulting from the use of AFFF. And what we're asking for you is approval of contract that allows us to do that work. I'd like to add, because there's been some developments, because it's kind of begs the question of, well, what's the future of the use of AFFF? AFFF is heavily used in the military, we're firefighting, obviously aircraft firefighting. Congress directed DOD to take the lead on finding an alternative to AFFF. it's recently, within the last month, issued a bill spec for something called F3, which is fluoral-free foam, I believe is what it's short for. I participated in a webinar, a webinar this week where the FAA has a team that's working closely with DOT monitoring the adoption of this F3. And I anticipate in the coming months, the FAA will likely allow it to be an alternative, permit it as an alternative to HFOF, but they will not mandate its use. They anticipate that any mandate to replacement of HFOF will come at a state level. Given that we're one of the 4, 5, 6 states that is outlawed PFAS, that's going to be us. So I had reason to speak with Chief Dandridge from San Maria Fire Department this week, coordinated a meeting hopefully for next week on a broader set of issues, and I've raised this to him. He's very much aware of it. He has an hour background. He was with the city of Fresno, worked at Fresno International, so he knew what I was talking about. The material is very different than HFOF. It can't be co-mingled, so the equipment will have to be taken out of service, fully, safely removed of HFOF. The monitoring device that mixes the water and the foam and the foam solution is probably have to be replaced. It performs different than HFOF. That's tactically, firefighters have to train to using this new agent. So there's a whole careful process we have to go through and work closely with the fire department. And now's the time to have that conversation. Chief was like, absolutely. So hopefully next week we'll break that up as well. And the phase actually have some transition plan they've provided, so they're working constructively. I think we're the early adapters to what's going to be the future of their kind of firefighting effort. As long as you know is the rest of the story. With that, I request your permission to continue with this contract and get that work for water.
I've looked at the numbers and been around fire suppression materials for a while. And if we're stuck, we need to go. Make a motion to approve. Why don't they give us a program? Why isn't this?
They don't know how deep they have to drill the wells. I asked the same question and they said, we don't know if what depth we have to drill down until we finally find water. They're saying that their past experience in this area is that in the low, and not when you get all the way to the aquifer, but the water might be there one day, it might not be there a month later. So they couldn't give us a firm bid on that element of work. I asked the same question, but they were like, well, that's the worst case scenario, basically.
Did they spell it out deep, don't go anything else?
They go, basically the way of explaining, they go until you have a term for it. Basically the well can't go any further. And if they don't find water, then they basically report that they didn't find any water sample. And
So.
What's the timing of this?
we're supposed to report to the water board what the plan is. So, what's the drop in with the trouble with fish, with the water board? Like, how do I put this? This is something we need to get done. It's not done. I don't really know what our alternative is here. Wing it, I don't know.
I'm okay, no, I'm okay with the way it is, but I think they need to define it. What's gonna create it to cost more money, because it seems like every time you have something open-ended, all of a sudden it costs more money. It's like,
Well, the whole process is kind of soft and squishy. I don't know if Water Board really knows what they're asking for. They're just telling us to do things. I don't know how else to put it.
I got it, I said in the first meeting,
So we have a first and a second. Let's go ahead and go for the authorization. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item number 9, resolution 928. Resolution of the Board of Directors in San Diego Airport District expressing appreciation for Carl Osborne for service as an employee of the Santa Maria Public Airport District.
whereas the board of directors of the Santa Maria Public Airport District wishes to take the opportunity to extend deep appreciation to Carla Osborne for her valued contributions and exemplary service as the operations officer for the Santa Maria Public Airport District from October 2013 to November 2023. And
Whereas the board acknowledges and appreciates Ms. Osborne's dedication and her ability to work effectively with airport tenants and staff and citizens of the district. And
Whereas tenure as operations officer, Ms. Osborne patrolled the airport, monitored operations, provided security, safety, and emergency assistance, greeted, assisted, and provided information to the public in the performance of routine duties and special assignments, assured compliance with airport rules, regulations, and ordinances, and
whereas during her employment, Ms. Osborne created a customized airport-specific training program and initiated a new badging system streamlining the process. And Ms. Osborne created a culture of safety and encouraged a team-like atmosphere. And whereas Ms. Osborne was extremely conscientious and dependable and would adjust her schedule in order to supervise construction projects during long night hours. Whereas Ms. Osborne maintained a pleasant, affable, and kind relationship with the staff of the Santa Maria Public Airport District and tenants.
Now, Carla, therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Santa Maria Public Airport District that the board sincerely thanks Mrs. Osborne for her contribution to the district as an excellent example of professionalism and dedication to duty, and I'm going to add the 3.9 GPA.
go ahead.
Passed and adopted at the regular meeting of the Board of Directors, Santa Maria Airport District, held on November the 9th, 2023, by the following roll call vote.
President Moran,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Basket,
Yes.
Director Clinton,
Yes.
Director Brown.
Yes.
Thank you, Carl.
Does she have to make a speech now?
I do thank each and everybody for all your support.
Different ones. Okay. Moving on to item number 10. Authorization for the president and secretary to execute the First Amendment of Service Agreement between the district and Tartaglia Engineering for the design, bidding, and construction phase services for rehabilitate parallel and connecting taxiways phase 1 at the Santa Maria Public Airport District.
Mr. President, this is simply an extension of the time period for the contract, March 1st of 2024.
Make that motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item number 11, authorization for the president and secretary to execute the assignment of the commercial hangar / building space lease between the district and International Emergency Services, Inc. to James S. Vanier for the hangar located at 3117 Charlie, Liberator Street, Santa Maria, California, 93455.
Since I have an interest in this, I will withhold my vote.
Mr. President, this manager who, has a relationship with International Rescue Services, an evolving relationship, asked that, he wants to continue what he's been doing for years in the hangar. And, simply have the agreement under his name rather than, IES. And, so there physically there's no change in activity. And, so our recommendation would be that you approve the assignment.
Any questions?
I got a question, yeah, what, so it so it's IES, are they giving it up and this other guy's just gonna take it over, is that the idea?
It's an assignment.
Does that mean it's a one-way assignment, it's just hang at that point, though,
Correct.
but that can't go back?
Can't go back.
Yeah.
It would, IES would no longer be associated, would no longer have a lease for that hangar.
Okay.
Make a motion, we approve it. Second that.
All in favor? Aye. Moving on to item number 12, nominations for one regular and one alternate special district member to Santa Barbara LAFCO and authorization for the president to write in the nominations on behalf of the district.
Mr. President, the local area formation commission, I'm sure you're all familiar with, has provided applications that are due January 4th, I believe. Inviting you all, it's no requirement you participate, but that you offer up, an applicant for the board and for the commission and an alternate. And it requires a, with the application, so should you choose to direct staff, will need to include, minutes of the meeting, future meeting, demonstrating that your board, what action the board took in regard to making an application. Mine is January 4th, so you're, no one made a decision tonight, it's not the end of the world yet.
I'd like to go over one and then on the side.
We'll put it on the next agenda and
We'll put it on the next agenda.
okay.
With that, moving on to item number 13, authorization for the president and secretary to execute a consent of leaser between Maldonado Companies and Santa Barbara County Fire Protection District pursuant to legal counsel review and approval.
Mr. President, we received this application, for this request for consent of a subtenant for Maldonado Companies hangar, last Friday. When he done a cursory review of it, it's with the, Santa Barbara County Fire for the purpose of doing some kind of retrofit or rehab to ambulances. And it's, you know, the requirements of the hangar are for aviation use, unless your board gives consent to some other use. And my understanding, this is supposed to be a short-term agreement. So,
How should we-
yeah, it's in here. It has a whole different. It was presented to be a short-term agreement, but there's nothing more permanent in government than temporary programs.
Well, it's not to exceed 5 years. It says not to exceed 5 years.
Well, I don't think, I've been told the second improvement on, notification of what is on the hangar. So it's your decision whether you want to provide consent to this subtenant.
The motion be approved from the standpoint that Santa Barbara Fire Chief does have aviation assets that are used on the fires under the control of the sheriff.
I think what this may be about is I know that Santa Barbara County's been taking over, AMRs can be out and then we start doing the ambulance.
Yeah, yes,
That's it.
yeah, there's been a big debate and, and unhappy outcome, in my view, that the Santa Barbara Fire Chief decided to go into the emergency medical business. But he got the 3 or 4 votes on the city council, on the county supervisors. He approved it, so he's gonna be in the business and he needs some way to do it. And I think if we can be of assistance for the county fire in smoothing that process out a bit, and as long as it doesn't prevent some aviation, stronger aviation asset or operation coming in there, I would make a motion for it.
I would second that.
The problem that I have is that it's ambulance, it's not aviation related. And,
I don't think we have enough information.
It's,
oh, we
fire
are, we don't have
protection.
it.
What's that?
It's fire protection, right?
Is there anything else at this time?
It's fire protection, right?
I mean, it's the email and at least it's for something with the county fire ambulances for some relatively short period of time.
I feel like we need to educate ourselves about this.
Yeah.
Before we take a decision, so it's going to take listen to.
Where we have the real estate committee, maybe meet with them, see exactly what's gonna be, so we actually know. Where it's not one of those things where we're surprised down the road, and what we thought it was, and it's not.
Yeah, because this kind of sounds like to me it's for fire protection.
Which is all fine, but
I mean, if we postpone it for one meeting, I don't think it's gonna be a big deal, we get all the, Malton out, if we can't be with them, just talk about it. I guess we'd be chucking around the real estate, right?
that's correct.
Is that right? You good with that?
Yeah, yeah.
What do we do that? Because that way we're not doing that.
Just make one comment is that the lease is effective beginning of November, so, they're already just the same.
Yeah. So then we're already over 5 times.
Yeah, well, guess they should meet up really quick.
The carrier stuff always makes it.
All right. Let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break before closed session. And then we're now going into closed session. Item 14. We come out of closed session with no reported actions. Moving on to item number 15, correct responsible. Start with Dave Bassett.
Question. Comment. A couple of years ago, the board passed my objections that aircraft that are being repaired or restored and take more than a certain amount of time and get charged more for the hangars. 20% more and 40% more, etc. Under the theory that Director Brown had, that by doing so, there would be more activity at this airport, with more flying and therefore more fuel sales, which would make sense since a gallon of each gallon of gas. I've asked, and I have not yet seen any evidence that there's any benefit to that policy, and if there's none, then I think we should reverse that. That's my comment, and I would like to see evidence that this policy that, in place for a while, that actually accomplished something towards the goal that you had. That's my comment.
My comment is that this airport is heading in the right direction. I can see it, I can feel it, I can hear it. We're heading in the right direction, and we know it. Second comment is, I want to thank the veterans out there, because November the 11th, 2 days from now, is Veterans Day. And we've been throwing an annual Veterans Barbecue every year at the Veterans Memorial Hall. It's their 23rd year to barbecue between 10:30 and 3 o'clock. So if anybody'd like to go over there in the airport, I got you covered, and we got plenty of tri-tip chicken and all the fixings. Be hungry, come on over. So that's my comment.
My comment is thank you to the veterans as well. Not to like market it for my weird, but I went to that event last year and it's actually pretty awesome.
I have no comment this evening.
I can tell.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.